Is the BCS Foundation exam testing how much you know? No. It's testing how much you can apply and apply correctly. Look, here's where most people get this completely wrong. They think because it's a foundation level exam, it's just definitions. They think they can memorize what RACI stands for or what the M in Moscow means, and then they're fine. But that's not what BCS is testing at all. The BCS Foundation is, not to get too technical, but it's designed around Bloom's taxonomy. So this is levels K1 and K2. K1 is remembering. That's your basic definitions. K2 is understanding and applying. That's taking those concepts and using them in a workplace scenario. Right, so here's the difference. A K1 question would be, what does the R in RACI stand for? That's easy, responsible, done. But that's not what you'll see on the actual exam. A K2 question gives you a scenario. The project manager has assigned Sarah to complete user acceptance testing. Who should sign off the testing results? Then it gives you 4 options about who's responsible versus who's accountable. That's the gap. That's the bit that really catches people out. They know what RACI means, they can recite definitions, but when BCS gives them a realistic workplace situation, they can't apply it correctly. The exam has 40 multiple choice questions. You've got 60 minutes, I've said this before, 90 seconds a question. You don't have time to sit there trying to remember textbook definitions. You need to read the scenario, spot the key details, and apply the right technique. Here's how the BCS actually designs these questions. They take a real workplace situation that any BA might face. Then they test whether you can recognize which technique applies and how to use it properly. Right, so this is a typical BCS question. You're a BA working on a new customer portal. Stakeholders have given you these requirements. The system must allow customers to reset their passwords. The system must process password resets within 2 seconds. System must store customer data securely. System must be available 99.9% of the time. The question then asks, which of these is a functional requirement? And your options are password reset capability, 2-second processing time, secure data storage, or 99.9% availability. Have a think, let me know which one you'd pick. So the correct answer is password reset capability. That's what the system does, the functionality. Here's why the other 3 are wrong. 2-second processing time, that's performance, which is non-functional. 99.9% availability, that's reliability, non-functional. Secure data storage, and this is the one that's the tricky one. Security is non-functional. It's about how well the system protects data, not what it does with the data. Now, here's the examiner thinking behind this question. BCS knows that candidates often confuse what the system does with how well it does it. They put secure data storage as an option because in everyday language, storing data sounds like functionality. But the exam is testing whether you understand that security is always a quality attribute, a non-functional requirement. The examiner wants to know, can you distinguish between system behavior and system qualities when they're mixed together in a realistic requirements list? This pattern is going to repeat itself across every topic on the syllabus. So take SWOT analysis. BCS won't ask you what SWOT stands for. They'll give you a full list of factors about a company and ask you to categorize them. Experienced workforce, growing market demand, outdated IT systems, new government regulations. Which ones are internal? Which are external? Now, here's the trap. Experienced workforce is internal, is something the company has. Growing market demand is external, is happening in the marketplace, whether the company likes it or not. But under exam pressure, people mix them up. Same with RACI. BCS gives you a project scenario and asks you who should be accountable for a specific deliverable. And they know people confuse responsible, the person doing the work, with accountable, the person who signs it off. Completely different roles. The examiner is testing whether you can tell them apart in a realistic situation. So here's what this means for how you study. Don't just memorize definitions. Practice applying concepts to scenarios. When you see a technique like Moscow, don't just learn must, should, could, won't. Don't just learn what it means. Practice using it. Give yourself a list of requirements and try categorizing them. When you study stakeholder analysis, don't just memorize power interest grid and what that means. Practice placing different stakeholder types in the right quadrants. The senior manager who has authority but doesn't really care about the project details. Where does he or she go? High power, low interest, keep satisfied. The exam is testing your ability to be a working BA, and working BAs don't just know definitions. They apply techniques to solve real problems. If you want to test your ability to apply BCS concepts right now, I've got a completely free readiness quiz, 10 scenario-based questions that mirror the real exam style. You'll find out immediately whether you're thinking like the examiner wants you to think or whether you're still stuck in definition robot mode. It takes about 5 minutes and you'll get a personalized score showing exactly where you stand. Go to bastat.com, try it now. That's it. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.